Good morning. Today I'm going to do from Carlton up to Walton on the reservoir. The Carlton section initially is absolutely fantastic leading into Royston. I believe this is mostly because of the fishing club really look after it. I live close to Wilthorpe and the towpath is quite bad. I'm quite jealous of it here. It's a really nice towpath. Canal's got lots of algae and bacteria in it at the moment, but overall, as you'll see, it's a really nice section, this part of the canal. So I'm still on the Carlton section. We've come to what would be our first bridge of the day. I think today there's about 6 bridges on this section. We're still in the middle, so that's the bit I've just come up. You can just see the canal in between the trees, and then this is a better view of the canal going up to Royston. Well fished. Down here would have come a train track. It would have come down here, down there, and eventually end up at what is now Rabbit Ings at Royston, which is a former colliery site. So I've now just got to Royston, another bridge. The canal is still in water, but once we go over what would be the other bridge, there's no water. Then we get to the other side at Royston, I think it's Midland Street, then it just appear to be in water again. But on the next location of the bridge, that's a bit more interesting. Just crossed over and there's this house. On all photographs you can see this house on the canal, but normally you can't see it when you're walking in the direction I've done, because of all the edges. Now on Midland Street, Midland Road, I can't remember which it's called, in Royston. Where we are is quite a lot of photos of this bridge, not here now. So originally there would have been a stone arch bridge, and then later on it was replaced by a lift bridge to lift the road up to let the barges go underneath. That was dismantled in the 1970s. And on the old photos, this house was it was in all the photos. So now we'll just go across here. So we've just crossed over the road, Midland Street, Midland Road, whatever it is, and just down there on the right hand side would have been what was Royston train station. And over here we have an information board about the canal and the local area. I'll have a look. The lift bridge that I just mentioned, you can see a photo of it there. So we're now just north of Royston. Canal's back in water, and as you can see, for a canal it's quite wide, but when we get a bit further up it gets even wider. So just a bit further up, can't see it, but literally to the right hand side is an old railway. You can just see the canal there, and there's this building. Not got a clue what it's for, but it does show up in a lot of older photos. So on this part of the canal it gets really wide, and I've been told originally it was very deep. This was because not only was it a canal, it also acted a bit as a bit of a reservoir for the canal as well. And as you can see there, you will often see swans on this section as well. So on this section the path has taken us quite a way above the canal. I don't know if you can, comes out on camera, but you can just see it in the bottom. And again, I'm not sure if you'll see it, but on the right hand side there's a railway, but then there's also the remains of an old railway viaduct, and I believe this was part of the old to Barnsley railway. And we'll go down there now and we'll get back level with the canal. So back level with the canal down here, and then the canal goes in the direction of there. There's not much of it left for the next couple hundred metres. It would have gone under the railway bridge. We have to take a diversion only for a couple hundred metres up this path, If you've never done this section before, it gets quite confusing. So when you get up here, there's a path that goes to the right down that direction, which you would assume is the route of the canal. It's a mistake I made, and it isn't. You have to go to the left just up there and across the road to get back onto the canal. The route to the right is actually leads onto an old railway that eventually ends up in New Miller Dam, which when I've done this video is probably the route I'll cycle back from Walton. So we've now come out on the main road and we're going to head down there. There's two bridges. The first one goes over the railway and the second one goes over the canal. Now we can head back onto the canal. I think we're on road, not 100% sure. Just north of Royston and up there towards Old Royston. Right, so we're now at the second bridge where we join the canal. And if you look, you can just see it down there. We're now going to cross over and you can see the canal. And we're going to follow these signs. Just hold on. I'm going to follow this sign. According to that, we've got 3 mile up to Walton. Quite a long way down here. And then this is the last stretch of water, well, last stretch of the canal that's in water now up until we get up to Walton, and then just after Walton you see a small bit of it in water, which will be on my next video. But then after that small stretch after Walton, where the canal ends at River Calder, there's nothing left of the canal, so we really are not far off the end. So yeah, so obviously quite a long way down off the road here, and then we're going to follow the towpath up to Cold Edinley Reservoir. Just stopped a bit further up. To me it always feels a bit bleak following this section. I think it's because we're so low down from anything else. So now just going to cross a road where another bridge would have been, going over to Cold Edinley Reservoir. The canal is just down there, and then the canal is now stops for about half a mile because it's all filled in, but we'll follow the route. But this is something to take note of, and I've mentioned it in other videos. The canal is on the left and the towpath is on the right hand side. When we rejoin the canal, you'll find the canal's on the right and the towpath on the left. So I think this is about the 3rd time the towpath switches sides. There's no evidence of where the towpath switches sides. I imagine it would have had to be done at a bridge so they could walk the horses over. So we're now at Cold Edinley Reservoir. Massive canal. This canal was built to feed the canal system. Sorry, this reservoir was built to fill the canal system. And as big as it is, it wasn't big enough, so they built another one just above it called Winterset. There's no remains of it now, but the canal would have been down here to my left. Somewhere over there was a very, very big pump house that I always assumed had something to do with the canal, but I've been told it wasn't, so I'm not sure of what its use was. So we'll now go over there into Hall Park Wood, which I believe we're now in the territory of Wakefield and not Barnsley anymore. On a previous video at Twyble Street, I showed you these stones that would have had a wheel on it, and up here in Horse Park they've still got the metal wheel attached. So now back on the canal. As I mentioned just a few seconds ago, the towpath is now back on the left hand side, and on the right hand side is the canal. It's not really in water. We've come across the first of, I think it's 2 or 3 fantastic bridges. A lot of canal bridges had to be reinforced with metal, and even with metal, just look at what the tow ropes did over the years. and because there's not many locks on this part of the canal, you'll see grooves in bridges. So this is so they could wedge parts of the canal shut, drain it off or do some work on it. But yeah, we'll see at least another 1 or 2 bridges like this on this part. Just gone a bit further up and the canal comes back into water, but unfortunately not for much longer. Across another one of the stones with the wheels still in place. Another canal bridge, but it's a bit hard to see with all the overgrowth, so not too sure if it'll come out on this film. And to the right, canal in the bottom, and we're going to follow the towpath up here. So on this part of the canal coming up to Walton Park, on both sides you can see quite a lot of rock. So I'm not 100% sure, but you can guess that they've had to blast the way through this section. Just show you the other way coming up there. We're at another canal bridge. Yeah, quite a big one this. Go a bit closer. This ain't got the steel protector on it, but you can see where the tow ropes have made the mark over the years. Another bridge, and we're a road going over it, and I think we're just at the other side of this is Walton Park, and we're about half a mile from Walton now. Yeah, we're right. That's Walton Golf Club. There's a golf course, and the hotel is somewhere over there as well. So around Walton and going through Walton, there was quite a few locks. From memory, I think there was 8, but I can't remember. I did read up about it. And here's the first one. And as we get further up, we end up actually cycling through one. There is a name for these, but I forget. And basically that's where you tie your barge or your narrowboat to. Right, I've just come across this information board and I was wrong. There were 12 locks around this area. You can still see 2 of them, so that must be one of them, and I think the other one we cycle up, but the rest have been filled in and there's just nothing left to see of them. So the second lock, the path actually brings us down because the canal's starting to disappear now. I'm on my bike, so I'm actually cycling through it. But as you can see, all the walls are in place. So we'll head up to Walton now. And from here to the end of the video, there's not really anything of the canal left. So now on the main road in Walton, that would have been roughly the course of the canal. But there's no evidence left in Walton of the canal. It's all been built upon. The closest thing you'll find, if I zoom in, a road called Walton Locks. The next video we'll do from just at the other side of Walton, and we'll go all the way to the end, which is up at the Calder River in Wakefield.